Hello guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to solve rational inequalities. So rational inequality is an inequality that contains rational expressions. So don't forget the four inequality symbols we have here: less than, greater than, less than or equal to, and greater than or equal to. Equation has a limited number of solutions. Inequalities, on the other hand, has many solutions. It can be infinite. So to solve for x in a rational inequality, step 1 is to place all non-zero terms of the inequality on the left side. So in this rational equality, we don't have a problem because nasa left side na yung fraction natin. Next, simplify the expression. We don't have a problem here kasi nakasimplify na to. We cannot simplify this further. So isang fraction lang yan. Next is to find the critical values of both the numerator and denominator. But what are critical values? These are numbers that makes the numerator and denominator 0. So ano nga ba yung number na isa-substitute mo kay x sa numerator para maging 0 yung numerator? Well, actually, for us to get the critical value, we get the numerator, we equate it to 0, and solve for x. So negative 4 here is a critical value. Now we also get the denominator, we equate it to 0, and solve for x. What's next after getting the critical values? We determine the intervals or regions on the number line determined by these critical values. So the next step after getting the critical values is to make or draw a number line. And we are going to locate these numbers. So of course, if we have here 0, negative 4 is on the left side of 0, and 1/2 is nasa right lang ni 0. So what we're going to do here is to get test points. We substitute it in the rational inequality and see if it will yield a true statement. Before we do that, i-test muna natin yung critical values natin. So isa-substitute natin itong mga critical values sa rational inequality. Tingnan natin kung kabilang sila sa solution set. So una nating i-substitute si negative 4. Tingnan natin kung less than 0 talaga siya. So kung ika-calculator ko ito, the answer will be actually 0. And is 0 less than 0? No, it's not. Meaning, hindi kabilang si negative 4 sa solution set. Now, let's try to substitute 1/2 to the rational inequality. Okay, now if we are going to input this in a calculator, yung sasagot ni calculator dito is math error. Meaning, the rational expression is undefined when x is 1/2. So is undefined less than 0? Well, actually, no. Undefined is not less than 0. So meaning 1/2 is not included in the solution set. Now, well, actually, there are 3 regions in the number line. So what are we going to do? We get numbers from these regions and we're going to substitute it in the rational inequality and see if it will yield a true and valid inequality or statement. So, kumuha tayo ng isang value sa region na to. So, sa left ng negative 4, let's try to substitute negative 5. So, if I'm going to input that in the calculator, the answer is 1/11. And is 1/11 less than 0? Definitely not. 1/11 is a positive number, and a positive number is not less than 0. So meaning, yung mga numbers sa region na to are not included in the solution set. Now let's try to get a number in between negative 4 and 1/2. So ano kayong pinakamadaling i-substitute dyan? Any number. Okay, I'll just get 0 para mas madali. So if I'm going to substitute 0, the answer is negative 4. And is negative 4 less than 0? Yes, a negative number is less than 0, meaning we are going to shade this because the numbers that are in this interval are included in the solution set. Now let's try to test this region. Okay, so let's get a number that is in this region. We substitute it in the inequality. So let's try 1. So if I'm going to input 1, if I'm going to simplify that, the answer is 5, and 5 is not less than 0. So this region is not part of the solution set. So out of all the numbers, yung mga numbers from negative 4 to 1/2, ang mga solution ng rational inequality na yan. So we can write our answer in interval notation. So para isulat yan, okay, from negative 4 until 1/2, negative 4 is not included and 1/2 is not included. So that is how we solve for x in a rational inequality. So it's a little bit of a mess, but if you mastered how to simplify rational expressions and how to write interval notations, then it will be a piece of cake. So next example, okay, we have here two fractions, and it says in step 1 that we should move all the fractions to the left side. And so what's left on the right side? 0. So what I will do is that I'm going to merge the two fractions into one. And there's no problem with that because the denominator is the same. And if we have two fractions with the same denominator, we can actually copy the common denominator, which is x minus 3, and subtract the numerators. So 1 minus 5 is negative 4. That is less than or equal to 0. So this one here is our new inequality. Okay. After simplifying the rational inequality, we find the critical values. And how do we find the critical values? We equate the numerator and the denominator to 0. But since in the denominator we have negative 4 and there is no variable, walang sense na i-equate mo yan sa 0. So let's leave the numerator, get the denominator, equate it to 0. And so the critical value is positive 3. After getting the critical value, we draw the number line, we locate that number, and we test the numbers from this region and from this region so that we're going to see if they are included in the solution set. But before we do that, i-test muna natin si 3. So kung isa-substitute natin si 3 dito sa bagong inequality, it will become like this. Obviously, magiging undefined yan, and undefined is not less than or equal to 0. So 3 is not included in the solution set. Now, what if we get a test point from this region sa left ng 3? So ano kaya yung pinakamadaling i-substitute dyan? Any number sa left ng 3. Let's try 0. So if we're going to substitute 0, it will be negative 4 over negative 3, and a negative number divided by a negative number is a positive number. So the answer here is 4/3, and that is positive. And a positive number is not less than or equal to 0. So meaning the numbers that are in this region is not included in the solution set. Now, let's try to get a number from this region. So let's try 4. We substitute 4. Let's see if it will yield a true mathematical statement. So negative 4, and we have the 4 minus 3 is 1, and negative 4 over 1 is negative 4, and negative 4 is indeed less than or equal to 0, meaning all numbers that are in this region are part of the solution set. So we can shade this one hanggang kay positive infinity. So to write the final answer, the solution set of this rational inequality is from 3 excluded until positive infinity. So that's how we get the solution set of a rational inequality. I'll be giving one more example in the part 2 of this video.